Ladies and gentlemen, will you please stand for the entrance of the class of 2024, followed by the national anthem of Azerbaijan. Madam Director, members of the Board of Governors, parents, teachers and friends, welcome to the graduation ceremony of the class of 2024. After 2 years of hard work and stress, we are finally at the time where we can celebrate.
Əziz direktorumuz, məktəbimizin idarə heyəti üzvləri, müəllimlər, valideynlər və digər iştirakçılar, 2024-cü ilə məzun günü mərasiminə xoş gəlmisiniz. 2 illik gərgin zəhmət və stressdən sonra belə bir mərasiminin keçirilməsinin əsl yerinə düşdü.
I would now like to invite Miss Marie Favre, our secondary school principal, to give her opening remarks.
It is a pleasure to welcome you to the graduation ceremony of the International School of Azerbaijan. We come together as parents, teachers, family, and friends to celebrate the learning journeys of an extraordinary group of students. We are also joined this evening by our Board of Governors, Colin Allen, Elnara Mamadova, Lydia Balogun-Wilson, Hilda Ilverson, Jonathan Panoli, Joel Derbyshire, Hannah Walker, Aaron Bortka, and we would also like to recognize Chris Mayer, who served on our board earlier this year. This evening, we also have several of our TISA alumni who have decided to join us. We're so happy that you're here. Could our TISA alumni stand up? Class of 2024, you will be joining them shortly. And looking at you now, calm and confident, having traversed the IB diploma and all the years before, one might be fooled into thinking that your journeys were all easy. But we, your teachers, your families, your friends, we know the truth, that your calm and your confidence today is evidence of your strength and the challenges you have faced and overcome. I was reminded of your class and the role that challenge played in your success recently when I heard a story about Biosphere 2, the mini ecosphere in the Arizona desert. It's an entirely closed ecosystem that mimics our Earth, complete with its own waterfall, a grassy savanna, and a coral reef in its very own saltwater ocean. It also has trees. And the story I heard was that the trees in the biosphere had grown more quickly than the trees in the natural world. At first, they had thrived, but at a certain point, they had mysteriously fallen down. And the story went on that at first the scientists were baffled. After all, they had created the perfect conditions for growth. But then they realized that within the biosphere, the trees felt no wind. And without the wind, they could not stimulate the growth they needed for deep roots. Challenge, it seems, is necessary to grow to greater heights. It's a beautiful metaphor that encourages us to appreciate the strength we've taken from withstanding our own winds. But here's the catch. The story isn't true. You'll find it again and again on the internet, but the story of the mysterious falling trees at Biosphere 2 is backed up by no evidence. On the contrary, those trees, they thrived, and the biologists and the botanists responsible for them successfully nurtured their growth. One could retell the story of the trees through the frame of how the bubbles we are all inevitably a part of sustain us. But I think what's more important here is that your class is graduating into a world when the ability to distinguish between what is real and what is not, to check your own sources and make your own meaning and choose how you tell your story is more critical than ever. Class of 2024, it's true. Your story, like so many of the classes before you, could be told only through the frame of the challenges you faced. But the truth is that the ideal conditions for growth are not only hardship and challenge. They are nurture and they are care. They are friendship and teamwork and joy and curiosity. They are being part of a group that laughs together through hard times. It's knowing you have friends and teachers and your families all ready to support you and celebrate you. Today, I would like to recognize you not only for the challenges you faced, but for the caring community you've helped to create. After all, this is what it most means to be a part of TISA. Whether we realize it or not, we do get to choose how we tell our own story. And I was reminded of this just this week by one of our students who told me that as adults, we need to stop telling you that your generation needs to face and fix the problems of the world. Whether you like it or not, it's true, the world you are inheriting is a world with problems. That's one frame. Another is that you are inheriting a world of extraordinary kindness, bravery, and innovation. And the science of how we as humans grow best, that's also changed. The story that hardship and challenge alone help us learn and grow is slowly being replaced by a body of evidence that shows that a growth mindset, like the one in our TISA mission, and experience success, building relationships, that also can take us to new heights. Class of 2024, you get to choose how you tell your story of how you got to this stage, and you get to choose how you tell the new stories you'll write tomorrow. And I hope that as you do, you'll frame them in our TISA mission through the moments you engaged, stepping up to make a difference, the times you felt empowered, and when you empowered one another. And I hope that you'll frame it in what it feels like right now to sit on this stage today with all of us looking up at all of you, inspired by all that you've accomplished. And now I would like to invite our TISA director, Dr. Angela Romney, to the stage to address the graduands. Thank you.
Class of 2024, congratulations. Today is a day of celebration and reflection on all you have accomplished. You completed a year of online high school during a pandemic and a war. You adjusted to coming back in person with a full slate of trips and activities for your final 2 years. You completed rigorous coursework, learned new skills, finished IB exams and university applications. You served in the community with Expand Your Impact, Baku Changemakers, and TAN. You may have struggled at times, cried, been frustrated, or had difficult personal challenges that you had to overcome. You definitely made friends, and hopefully you had some fun. You have a lot to celebrate from your 4 years of high school, and now many of you are heading off to university next year, or perhaps taking a gap year. After you take time to celebrate, it's time to look forward. So allow me to share some advice with you before you depart. As I thought about this opportunity, I decided to frame my advice around a few key lessons that I gained while learning a musical instrument when I was younger. When I was in 4th grade, my school required each student to take orchestra as a compulsory music class. Having tried different musical instruments as part of the selection process, I really wanted to play the cello. My mother, however, suggested that I play the violin. Besides liking the violin, she had practical reasons. The cello would be hard to carry back and forth on the school bus, being the main one. It snowed a lot in Iowa, where I lived, and lugging a big cello through snow did not sound that appealing. Violins were also less expensive, so I took her advice and I started learning the violin. I practiced and performed with my class, but preferred doing other activities like reading and sports. A year later, we moved, and they didn't offer violin at my school. I thought I would try a new instrument, so I switched to the flute. I quickly realized that I did not like the flute, and luckily, after a year, we moved again. This school did not offer any instruments, so I went back to the violin with private lessons. I started to improve in the violin, but then my tutor moved. And then we moved again, and I jumped back into middle school orchestra class. However, at this point, I was placed in the lower performing orchestra because my skills were pretty far behind the other students who had been consistently taking violin since primary school. I practiced more so that I could improve and started to make some progress. I enjoyed the class even though I wasn't very good. The music was fun and I felt like I was learning. Now, when I got to high school, I started to realize that I did not love the violin as much as other people in the orchestra. Some of these kids had been playing for years and had a strong passion for their instrument. They were intense and practiced a lot, and it paid off. They were great. I was clearly on track for being the last chair of the second violins, which is the worst player in the orchestra. And I would have secured that spot except for a boy who had a crush on me, botched his tryout so that he could be my stand partner. Thank you, Mark. Around this time, I started to practice less, and not surprisingly, I didn't improve. The less I practiced, the farther behind I became. I was so unprepared that there were times when I turned my bow to the wooden side and just pretended to play because I had not practiced enough to know what I was doing. You can do that when you're hiding in the back. Despite being the worst player in the orchestra, there were some elements that I enjoyed. I made friends with people in the class, many of whom I might not have ever otherwise met. The class took a trip to Florida for a competition, and I had a great time in Disney World. But really, I was not that into violin, and I wanted to take some different classes. When the director announced that the orchestra would not be going to Florida again, but instead Ohio the next school year, I made the final decision to quit the violin. I did not love the violin or Ohio enough to continue with the class. Quitting violin freed up space in my school schedule, which allowed me to take other classes that I was genuinely interested in, such as mechanical drawing, creative writing, and Japanese. So what can we learn from my musical journey through school? A few things, perhaps. The first one is, you get better with practice. When I practiced the violin, I got better, and when I did not practice, I did not get better. It was pretty simple. The same principle applies for your university studies. Show up to class, do your work, follow directions. It will help you learn and get better at whatever you are studying. You're going to face new ideas and concepts that will require work to understand. Put in the work. The next lesson is that there is learning in every journey. Despite my not being a master at the violin, I learned a lot. I learned to appreciate classical music and now enjoy it. I learned to read music. I also had a positive experience and made friends, connected with people, as I said, that I likely would not have met. At university or in your career, you may not love every minute of your experience. You will face challenges, but there are always takeaways to be had and lessons to be learned. Be reflective and learn from all your experiences, both the good and the bad. Another important lesson is know when to quit. This may seem like strange advice, but there may be some pursuits that you believe are the right ones for you now, but you may end up discovering that they're not the right ones for you as you get farther along into it. This may be your course of studies. It may be your university. You may decide you need to transfer. It may be your group of friends. It's okay to change your mind. I'm not advocating making rash decisions, and certainly consult people who care for you and can give you good advice. But in most situations, there is a way to exit or change course, and sometimes it takes courage to recognize and act on it. I knew that it was time to quit the violin, and that decision allowed me to take additional courses and spend my time and energy on other things that I had more of a passion for. My final piece of advice, and parents, I think you'll like this one, is that I learned from my musical journey is listen to your parents. My mom encouraged me to take the violin and supported me over several moves to continue exploring music, even helping me switch to the flute for a time. She was able to see the value of learning and that I would gain from music. While many of you won't be living with your parents next year, I would encourage you to continue to seek their advice because they get it right a lot of the time. Not always, maybe, but it's always good to recognize that they have more experience in life than you do. In closing, class of 2024, as you embark on your next adventures, remember the lessons you have learned here at TISA and consider the advice I have shared today. Practice, do your work, and recognize that effort and dedication are the keys to improvement. Appreciate every journey for the learning it offers, even if it deviates from your initial plans. Don't be afraid to pivot when necessary, trusting your instincts and the wisdom of those who support you. And always listen to your parents. My daughter's in the audience too. They have guided you this far and will continue to offer you valuable advice. You have shown resilience, adaptability, and a growth mindset throughout your time at TISA. Congratulations once again, and best of luck in all your future endeavors. The world is ready for you, and I have no doubt that you will make it a better place. Thank you.
we're about to hear some living proof that Dr. Romney's remarks are correct from a student who I expect his musical journey will be a little more successful, perhaps, than Dr. Romney's. I would like to invite Daniel Nachavani, one of our M2 students, to the stage. Daniel is the cousin of Ali Nachavani, who is graduating today, and he is going to perform Inception Time by Hans Zimmer. Thank you very much, Daniel. Daniel will be graduating in 5 years' time. He will be sitting on the stage here. I suggest you book your tickets now, and we'll talk later about which Mozart piano concerto you're going to play. Every year, we award honours and high honours to the graduate students. Honour certificates go to those students who have earned 30 points or more in each of the 4 semesters of their DP years, and high honours go to those students who have earned at least 35 points in each of those years. I'm now going to read the names of those students. These certificates were given out at the graduation dinner that we had on Tuesday. And the students who are awarded honours this year: Kyla Arguez, Ayat Kasimova, Fidan Husseinova, Rio Kitano, Naya Petsku, Oliver Rollo, Ali Tunch, and Maksud Valiev. And those students who are receiving high honours, Liam Brown, Nutsa Gabriadze, Minishri Mahadevan Ramalakshmi, and Elisa Scalabre. And I would now like to invite to the stage to talk to you our salutatorian of the class of 2024, Humay Majid, and the valedictorian, Freya Hall.
Teachers, parents, friends, family, and guests, it is such an honor to welcome you to our graduation ceremony. More than that, it is an absolute privilege to be able to speak to you on behalf of our incredible classmates.
My name is Humay and this is Freya. Together we hope to capture and reflect the varied journeys that our peers have embarked on to arrive at this big moment today.
Whether you've been here since the beginning or joined us more recently,
are a foreigner from abroad or born and raised here,
excelled in athletics or academics or the arts,
each of us have forged our own unique paths.
On this count, no one would dispute that in our class, the class of 2024, we have a rich diversity, not only of culture, venture, or stature, but also of perspective, passion, and above all else, potential.
At this time, when our futures are bound only by the limits of our imagination, behind me I see in pranksters politicians, in artists, advocates, and architects, in dreamers, doctors, and in explorers, economists, and engineers.
Still, who we are is more than just what we are or who we will become. We are the space we occupy in a group, the memories we create for ourselves, and the relationships we have with those around us.
And in many ways, our class is like a speech. Each of us contributes a unique voice and distinct view, together forming a narrative that is both powerful and meaningful. As with every speech, it's the better sum of all its parts.
First and foremost, the quality of a speech is determined by the character of its framework. In our case, the endless encouragement and support of our teachers, administration, and especially Mr. Hubbock, Ms. Rebecca, and Ms. Borgerding.
Then you need a strong opening to inspire people to activate their listening ears, Rio, and persevere to the end of the speech. So thank you, friends, but most of all, family, for giving us that spark and getting us this far.
After that, you'll need some jokes to keep the atmosphere exciting and inviting. So give it up for Maksud, Noam, Araz, Aylin, Yana, and the man we all love to dunk on, Ali T, who've brought us all some much-needed joy during these difficult 2 years.
Anecdotes are equally important as they let the audience step into your shoes with short stories and shared experiences, like asking if trees get pregnant, why the sky is blue, or why we can't just print more money. Thanks, Fidan, Garance, and Kyla.
Still, no speech would be complete without pauses, to force you to stop, think, and reflect, to consider and contemplate, something we might have done less often than we ought. So here's to Dylan, Anthea, Bara, and Mir Saib.
Nor would a speech be half as interesting without some quotes, the people constantly telling you what someone else said or did. You know who you are. The following quotes are a few highlights from our peers. After eating an apple, Minnie asks, "Is this a peach?" Alice, "Guys, IB hates the class of 2024. And Rio, who says, "You're not special, so insignificant. Thanks."
Calls to action, though, are what make a speech powerful. They form connections and inspire others to engage and respond, whether it was in sports with Naya and Liam, in service with Elisa and Ayat, or the arts with Nutsa and Alien. You've helped bring our once passive year group to the forefront of change.
And that's our speech, our class, wrapped up in one. There are 3 names that we haven't been calling out yet. They're the storytellers of our class, myself, Freya, and 2 days ago at our last dinner together, Oliver.
But as this speech comes to a close, know that our story, as Ms. Favre said, is not over. Not for us as we carry on to university or employment, not for our teachers as they train up our successors in DP1, nor anyone else here tonight. This is as much the end of something as it is the beginning of another, however cliche that may sound.
Before we sit back down, I would also like to give a special thank you to my parents, Afag and Sarah, for going as far as to move out of the house during the exam week when I couldn't deal with people.
And to my own family, I'll say this. Mum, Dad, you've never wavered in your belief in me and have sacrificed so much for me to be here today. I want you to know I don't take it for granted. James, you've been so annoying, I'll almost be glad to go. But know that I'll miss you, love you, and I'm so proud of you. And with that, our speech is... We knew someone would fall tonight. It just had to happen. All right. With that, our speech comes to a close. Thank you so much for listening, and we hope you enjoy the ceremony.
Thank you very much to Freya and Humai, and we now come to the awarding of the diplomas for the class of 2022-4. I would like to invite Mr. Colin Allen, Chairman of the Board of Governors, Dr. Angela Romney, our Director, and Ms. Favre, Secondary School Principal, to the stage for the presentation of the diplomas. Liam Brown. Anthea Buckley. Alice Chivaka. Aileen Jimen. Garance Davian Lawrenson. Kyla Argiers. Sahib Evazov. Nutsa Gabriadze. Ayat Kasimova. Barra Huwait. Freya Hall. Fidan Husinova. Araz Gibrailov. Rio Kitano. Jana Koziewska. Inishri Mahavedan Ramalakshmi. Umay Majid. Ali Nachivani. Naya Petku. Oliver Rollo. Elisa Scalabra. Noam Steinfeld. Dylan Tamayo. Ali Tunç. Maksud Valiev.
Would the class of 2024 please stand? As director of the International School of Azerbaijan, I hereby certify that these students have met all the necessary requirements to be considered graduates. At this time, I am honored to recommend you for graduation. Graduates, you may now move your tassels from the right side to the left side. Congratulations to the class of 2024.
Ladies and gentlemen, drinks are served on the terrace outside. Please go and celebrate.